We have no PowerPoint this morning, so it's just me. Glad I wore something colorful. So you are here, and I know we have some people who are new or newish. The Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living has a vision and a mission that inform and sort of move along everything that we do. Our vision is awakening personal transformation. So that's what all of us are in for today and ongoing. And our mission is teaching tools for positive change. So you should have an idea by the time you leave of something you can do to make the world better. But before I move further into this morning, I do want to welcome everybody who's here for the very first time. We have our goddesses, our welcoming goddesses on each corner here. If you are here for the first time or back after a long time and don't have one of our welcome packets, just hold up your hand and you'll get something in it. That's all you have to do. We won't ask you to do anything else. Anybody want a welcome packet? There's one there. There's one there. Welcome. That's a joke over there. That person's been here for a long, long time. So anybody else? All right, wonderful. So we also have a theme for the whole year that many of the Centers for Spiritual Living are using in one way or another, and that is a world that works for everyone. That's what we're creating together, a world that works for everyone. And this morning, what came to me is a world where all races, nationalities, ages, genders, people with differing religions, political persuasions, eating habits, and sexual preferences feel comfortable at home and that they have a reasonable expectation that their needs on earth can be met. Isn't that, it's like no matter who you are or what you do or what you look like, in a world that works for everyone, you have a reasonable expectation that your needs will be met. So we have some work to do, yes, and we are doing it. So we also have a monthly theme, and the monthly theme fits right in with all of these things, which is global transformation through personal transformation. And what that means is that as each one of us heals the hurt places in us, because you know that my new favorite saying, hurt people hurt people. Mm-hmm. And so as we heal those places within us that have been hurt, I think we all come in to this life kind of setting up our lessons, and the lessons get set up through some painful experiences, and as we heal those painful experiences, we transform into that being of light that we came in to be. And as one after another of us does that, it becomes easier for everyone that follows. So my title today is Include Yourself in Spiritual Magnificence. So that's what I want all of us to do today, among other things. And so I want to draw your attention to Maya's beautiful altar of spiritual magnificence, where you've got this mother and baby that the mother is looking adoringly at this baby, which is so good for building that truth in us that we are brilliant, loving, capable, happy beings. And then there's the mirror there in that sunburst that we get to look at ourselves and know that we are perfect, whole, and complete. So the teaching that is that the glory of God is all around us, and that we are one with that glory of God. And it's right and appropriate that we feel a part of the magnificence. And we're so much more than some little sad, alone being making it on our own. So that's the first thing. We are already one with God in all of God's magnificence. And the second teaching, and that's pretty much what I have been saying every single Sunday, these two things since 1989 when I became a minister. First is our oneness with the all-pervading perfect Spirit of God. And the second is our thoughts are creative. What we believe and what we assume is true, no matter how that comes in, is sort of pictured back to us as the world we live in. And so that is influenced by friends, education, Facebook, media, all of that stuff. It is done unto us as we believe. So that's the main teaching. Now, we create our life with our assumptions and beliefs. And there are a couple of things that snag us. And that's what I want to talk about first, the things that snag us in creating this world that works for us, you know? The first one is that we don't love ourselves enough. So I think that God's creativity is so amazing because I make up these talks and then I get to live them before you do. So you'd think that if the first point is, I am a magnificent child of God, that I would feel that way. No, I forgot the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint is on a dresser in Santa Rosa. That's where the PowerPoint is. So you can imagine, I ransack the car, I ransack my purse, the PowerPoint I realize is on the dresser in Santa Rosa, and I didn't love myself. And so God showed me that way of the topic. It's like, thanks. So then I read things like this, like I say for you to read. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? Well, there you go, Karyl. That's the truth. Well, oh. And I'm telling you, people loved me right through it. I was swearing a blue streak when I came in. And Leslie at the bookstore said, you don't need PowerPoint. God points the power. Yoo-hoo! Leslie! All right, so yes. So if I can do it, you can do it. And the next thing that snags us is that we forget that we are creating as a part of a group. You know, we create the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. We create the environment of the election. And we create this world that does or does not work so well for everyone in it. And so the lesson is, what we do have absolute control over, individual control on the inside, is how we hold the circumstances that get co-created by all of us. And so these circumstances that get co-created by all of us, we can look at and say, what a blessing. Or, you know, oh, fill in the blank, you know, oh dear, oh shucks, oh. And we get to make a value judgment, we all do, about what's going on out there. And the value judgment is how we actually feel inside, that things are going well in God's world or things are not going so well. And that is what is replicated over and over and over again as more and more experience. So that's what we have all by ourselves to do. But otherwise, we are creating in groups. And it's very wonderful to learn how to create in groups better. Which brings me to the quote, which would have been very nice up there, but this is the quote that comes to us from home office, and that is, we encourage our community members to live courageous, fearless lives and to be passionate about its possibilities. I love this quote because it's the first time that we are offered this collective consciousness to look at. Our community members of CSL all over the world. The home office, the powers that be, the mother church, whatever you want to call it, wishes us to be fearless and courageous and look at life in all of its possibilities. And as we do this as collective groups, it is powerful. So what I want you to know, and I actually will put the PowerPoint points in the outgoing letter. If you don't get the outgoing letter, just go to our website and click on subscribe, and you'll get it. So first of all is to be a part of happy groups. We're already a part of groups. We're a part of CSL, you're a part of your families, your colleagues, your friendship groups. And what happens usually is that the people in our groups look and feel a lot like us. They have the same kind of weather on the inside. They sort of complain about the same things because it's company to complain about the same things, you know? Or they acknowledge the greatness of the same things. And what's really fascinating is when people start taking classes here, this always happens in foundations. It's one of the reasons I love to teach foundations, is that they say, you know, I'm making some new friends. And people that I used to be close to, I just don't see so much. I don't know why that is. Well, it's because the consciousness, the way you hold whether life is going well or not so well, you gravitate to other people that believe sort of the same thing, and you are encouraged to either stay with that belief or go on this trajectory that life can be better and better and better and better, and we are passionate about life's possibilities, as the quote goes. So that's the first thing, and I want to tell you also in this part about being part of happy groups. Your practitioners had a retreat this weekend, Friday night and all day Saturday, and I walked in at 3 o'clock on Saturday to do one part of this retreat, and the happy group atmosphere was so thick that I had to kind of go like this. Whoa, a sea of love. And so that's if you feel extra good today, it's because your practitioners are all prayed up. So the next thing is to hold a great vision for your collective expression. I trot this out, I think, every few months because it's so powerful. And actually, this is a Star Trek Sunday. And you are going to see more of Star Trek as we go through this. But this is LeVar Burton, who Geordie LaForge, that my son wrote a fan letter to when my son was much younger. And he got this picture back with this note on the back that says, "Hi there. I truly believe that our thoughts influence what we experience in life. Do yourself a favor and spend at least one moment today thinking of our world as a safe, healthy, and wonderful place to be. In the light, LeVar." So, glory be that there are stars, you know, Hollywood stars, that promote this philosophy. But you are a star in your groups as well, and you can promote this philosophy, and you can actually hold this great vision and do the process of visioning. You know, we vision every month for this community, and you are welcome to those. They're on our schedule, or you can call the office. Visioning is a practice whereby you just open to the vision that is most filled with love and peace and divine expression and what wants to happen in the highest place of whatever it is that you're doing. And you know, there's a real estate person in this community that actually does visioning with her clients. She doesn't say that we're going to look at God's highest vision, but she says, what would be the very best that you can receive in your new home? And that's how she sells houses. That's Susan Corte. I'm sure she would be okay with me telling you that. So, then what happens is once you have the idea, then you work at visualizing. Visioning is catching the idea of God. Visualizing is deepening the idea of God by picturing it. So I want you to know that already your solstice committee is working to re-envision the entire solstice, and we are seeing amazing things in this space, just to tell you. So we use these practices. Next, because that quote was, we encourage our community members to live courageous, fearless lives, we have to realize that any change takes courage. So this is where we go from the group down to the individual again, because you know all change is an inner job with you. Change doesn't really work when you manipulate the outer, because that's just conditions that are held in place by the group consciousness, and you are knocking your head against the wall if you try to change things by manipulating the stuff on the outside. You have to change the stuff on the inside. The expectation of life being better than you have ever imagined before. And so when you change on the inside is when things truly change on the outside. It's really it's magic. It's miraculous. And I don't know how many times, it happened this week, that somebody came up to me and said, you know, this wonderful thing happened. I can't remember because they come so fast, really, that I was expecting this, and then this happened. So change is scary for some. Some of us, I won't say us because I'm one of those ones that it's scary for me, but some of you love change. You know, you're those penguins that leap off. And that is great. It's like, it's got to be scary for you too, but somehow you just put that courage under your arm and leap. So for all of us, change is a little bit or a lot scary because we are moving into where we have not known before. And what happens is, in this change, we grow to be the person that can live the vision that we have seen. That's what happens. We grow to be the person who can live the vision that we have seen. So we move into the unknown, and that's what change is, and it requires courage. Now, how many of you have done this in your life? Oh, everybody. And so we all can do it again. Whatever's in front of us, that is the next step, is what we do. And then the last in this part about group creation is that each supports all others. So I love it when people come, the first people that come to the service, they always gravitate to each other and start talking about their lives. I mean, I don't listen in, but you can tell, you know, when two people kind of come and they're close together and they've got that compassionate look on their face, and I saw two guys today just put their arms on each other. We are learning about each other's lives and supporting each other in our lives. And that's what loving community does. And I have the greatest story about that. I'm going to call up Ed right now to tell you this amazing story about caring for each other. This is one of the miracles.
Thank you, Karyl. About 14 years ago, I had chemotherapy, and it left me with neuropathy in my legs. Up until maybe about 5 weeks ago, I had lost all hope that I'd be able to walk in a couple of years. My balance is compromised constantly, and I was really worried. And I was starting to get very depressed. And then I attended a seminar on a new technique that uses stem cells for regenerating nerve tissue and muscle tissue and all kinds of tissue in the body. And I, at that point, set an intention that I was going to have that done. I didn't have the money to do it. I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. It was fairly expensive, and I could get it done in Sacramento. First of all, one of the members of this community, Rita Abrams, said, let's do a concert, a benefit concert for you. And so I started organizing that, and then I did some prayer work with my practitioner, Reverend Lloyd, and came up with the idea of doing a crowdfunding raise to raise the money that I needed. I created one Sunday afternoon a crowdfund that many of you have seen and helped with. Did a little video, that's what I do, is video production, showing how I walk and what the challenges are, and put it up on a Monday night. 14 days later, I had raised $13,000 for my community. Much of it came from people here. and other communities that I'm involved with, the media community, my Trout Unlimited group, and family too, a tremendous amount of group support and help. And last Thursday I went up to Sacramento and I got 6.5 million stem cells injected in my feet. And I'm hopeful to see some results in about 3 to 4 months.
Yeah! Woo! Woo! So that's what happens when we support each other. That is absolutely thrilling. So now I want to talk about specifically this community. We have been, but I want to restate that quote. We encourage GGCSL members to live courageous, fearless lives and to be passionate about the possibilities of our community. So, first of all, I want to suggest to you that because you're here, each of us expresses a part of our life purpose by being a happy member here. We have a complex set of life purposes. And part of it, because you're here, I just want to suggest, might be to be a happy and purposeful member here. You know, when I do a wedding, there's a part in the wedding where I talk about love with abandon. And the words are, love deeply and don't hold back. And that's what I want to suggest for us here, for our community. To love deeply and don't hold back. I know that everybody comes here to be inspired, and hopefully you are. But I want us also to come here and open to the relationships that are here for you and the loving, loving people that we have here, letting yourself fall in love all over again with us. You know, as I was creating this talk, it was one of those talks that last night I was telling the people at home, I hope God does something with this talk. Because it sounded to me like a sociology lecture instead of a spiritual lecture. But what I want you to know is that I know that another reason people come is because they're hurting. Something is missing in their lives, or they're racked with guilt or sadness or confusion or anger, and this is their last hope, is to come to church and hopefully find something. And what I want you to know is that if all of us love deeply and don't hold back, every hurt can be healed, because love is the universal healer. It has happened before that people leave this place and they go, I don't know why I was so upset when I came, but I feel so much better now. And it is just because of the love that we generate here. Now, the next piece is my really one and only pitch for the Pledge Program. And that this is, each person in GGCSL gives their time, their talent, and their treasure. So I would love to ask each and every one of you to fill out a pledge card for how much money you think you are going to give this community next year. You don't have to, you can do more. You can change it at any time, but it helps us with our planning. This is where we are right now. And what is very important, what we have in, are most of the people that give all the time. And what would be really wonderful is for everybody to be in 100%, no matter how much you give. Because I know we have pledges right now of several $1,000s a person, down to much smaller amounts. And so what I'm asking for today is just everybody come in. Everybody say, I'm in, by pledging something. And that will be such an amazing foundation for our community next year, even new visitors. And next, each envisions the best for GGCSL. What I suggest is that you take a bulletin and you put it up on your refrigerator. Because on the bulletin, it has the schedule, and it also has the theme for the year and the theme for the month, and it reminds you of your spiritual home. And you know, everybody's refrigerator is the PowerPoint in their house. And so every time you go to the refrigerator and open it, you can see the bulletin of the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, and you can say, oh, that's my spiritual home. I'm sending it love right now. That is holding the vision for this community thriving, is just to hold it in mind and heart in love. And then finally, each person supports all others. Heart to Heart is an amazing part of this community that serves everybody that needs help. The practitioners are always available to you for prayer, for counseling, for telling you the truth. And what I love is when I hear individual people helping one another to move or to do a project or something like that. You know, when I went into the practitioner retreat yesterday, it was delivered by Maggie Cole, who is a longtime practitioner at the Santa Rosa Church. And I came in and sat down in that pool of love, and Maggie said publicly, she said, you know, I'm usually called in to help heal something because something's gone wrong in a church. And when I started on Friday night, I knew that nothing was wrong here. So I want you to feel that. I want you to feel the health of our community and how easy it is for you to love here, and how I hope it is easy for you to love deeply and don't hold back. Finally, the final point is about when we do this here, we are affecting the whole world. And when we affect the whole world, we affect tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and the evolution of our life on earth, hopefully co-creating a world that works for everyone. So the rewrite of the quote once again is, we encourage each other to live courageous, fearless lives and to be passionate about the future of our world. So I'm going to call up now our workshop leader for this afternoon, John Palmer, who's been a friend of mine for a decade at least, and to tell you a little bit about the workshop and what is in store for you. You want to come up?
I was trying to remember when we met Karyl, and our daughters were at Asilomar. I think they were 4 years old. And everybody here knows that Melanie's 24. My daughter's also 24, so it's been 20 years.
Wow. Aww. Yeah.
And I think many of you know my wife Doreen. She's more public than I am. And we live in Denver, and we've come here to visit with Karyl, and we're going on to do other things in California. But Karyl, I was telling her what I was speaking on, and she said, come talk to my people. So I am. So I'd like you to remember this quote. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man has gone before. For most of you, Star Trek was a mantra, yet a paradigm of the far future that we all absorbed like obedient children. James Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard were heroes more than any human heroes. And in accordance with the law of attraction, we created, to the best of our ability, what we saw every week on television. These are a few examples of our creation which embody the essence of Star Trek lore. Our cell phones are equivalent to the Star Trek translators. Our DNA analyzers will become the tricorders of the future. Scientists have already transported atoms from one place to another, in fact, all the way across the world. But it may be several centuries before we actually do transportation. And most remarkably, the first steps to warp drive, you all remember warp drive, the first steps to warp drive were taken this year. In no small way, our mission for the future is similar to that of the Enterprise. We are exploring strange new worlds, and we are seeking out new paradigms for our ever-changing civilization. And we must seek those paradigms. Robert Schuller once said, and this is very similar to what Karyl's saying, let your hopes, not your hurts, shape your future. In our world today, with ever-increasing visions of seemingly insurmountable problems, hope seems a rare commodity. In fact, if you don't have a vision of a better future, it's very difficult to find hope. It is my intention today to give you some measure of hope, along with the tools to find the elements of the future that excite you and your loved ones. So please join your friends at the Church Learning Center at 12:30, and we will provide snacks. And to close, I'd like to repeat a quote from Franklin Roosevelt, who said, "We have always held the hope, the belief, and the conviction that there is a better life, a better world beyond the horizon." Let's take a peek at the future to build that hope. I hope to see many of you in the workshop today.
Well, I've seen the presentation complete with PowerPoint, and it's fabulous. So, in conclusion, I want to just recap those two challenges to creation, and that is to humbly, amazingly love yourself as a part of God's distribution system, and realize that all of the other people around you are a part of your team to download God. The spiritual principles that we worked with today are, first, each of us is an unrepeatable miracle. And second, we co-create as individuals and in the collective. And the practice, this is the tool for positive change. Love yourself as part of God's whole creation. Let's do the inner work now. And so as we go into the inner work with that beautiful felt sense of loving deeply and not holding back, we look at all of the groups that we are a part of, our families, our social groups, our work, and just to observe if it is so difficult to love deeply without holding back anywhere. Maybe that's not where you need to be. And maybe change is afoot. For love is that universal healer, and it is the grease on the skids of change. It's what helps everything move in life, and it is what helps everything heal. Love, sweet love, that connects us all, that pours from our eyes and pours from our hands as we gaze upon each other and hold each other in our arms. This is the love that is creating a world that works for everyone. This is the love that helps us do the amazing things that will create the world that works for all. And so it is.